Fourth grade lesson 1.8 is problem solving with comparison or with addition or subtraction. So really what we're doing is we're looking at some word problem scenarios that will utilize the skills we've learned in chapter 1, including comparing the large numbers or addition or subtraction. So let's go ahead and review some or go over some steps that help whenever you're faced with word problems. Okay, so these are Mrs. Sanchez's handy dandy steps to always handling word problems. These are the steps that always work for me. Number 1, read it. And I know you're probably surprised that I put read it on the word problem, but you'd be surprised at how many times people just see the words and they freeze up and they don't read it because they just give up right away and say, I don't know. Read it. Take that first step to just read it. Don't worry about what you have to do, just read it through. So step 1, go ahead and just read it through. Second step, underline the question they're asking you. Usually it's the last sentence in the scenario. Underline it so you know what you need to answer. Number 3, go back and circle any information that they gave you in the word problem. Number 4, draw it. I don't know why, for me, this step works so well. Anytime I'm not sure, I just draw a scenario. Nothing fancy, I'm not doing art, but I just draw out what's going on, and it helps my brain figure out what exactly I need to do. And then because I drew it and I figured out what I need to do, then I can move on to step 5 and solve it. Also, your book gives you this kind of scenario. It's similar to Mrs. Sanchez's handy dandy steps. This kind of walks you through as well. So we'll do both of them in conjunction with each other. So let's start with step 1. Let's read it. Hot air balloon festivals draw large crowds of people. The attendance on the first day of one festival was 17,350. On the second day, the attendance was 18,925. How many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? Let's underline the question. How many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? Let's go back and circle the information they gave us. We know that the first day it was 17,350, and the second day was 18,925. Let's kind of draw that scenario out a little bit. I had day 1, a number, I'm going to do it like a sort of a bar graph thing or a box here. It was 17,350. And the second day, it looks like there was more. 18,000 is more than 17,000, right? So I'm going to make that box just a little bit bigger. 18,925 because it was more. And they are asking me how many more people attended. So if they're asking me how many more people attended, it's what's the length from here to here? What is this amount right there? The difference between them. And so once I see that in picture form, my brain can say, oh, well, if I take this amount and I subtract this amount away from it, it will tell me that overlapped amount. So now my brain, after seeing it, goes, oh, it looks like I've got a subtraction problem on my hand. Then I would subtract. That's how running through Mrs. Sanchez's handy dandy steps for word problems works. Let's look at this map because maybe this sort of plan works for you. They're similar anyway. What do I need to find? That's the same as underline the question, right? What we need to find, we need to know how many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day. Okay? Then, what information do I need to use? Well, I need to use the amount of people who attended the first day and the amount of people who attended on the second day. And I'm going to go ahead and write in those numbers there because I have them. So the first day was 17,350. And the second amount was 18,925. Notice this second part here is the same as my step 3. Circle the information they gave you. So this was similar to my step 2, and this was similar to my step 3. How will I use the information? What strategy can you use? That's kind of similar to my draw it, but maybe you reason it out differently. Maybe you're not visual or you don't need a picture like I do to do it, but this could be a draw it scenario. Or you could think, well, I need more. I need to find the difference between. And I know that difference between those two numbers, this amount right here, is what I'm trying to find. How much more than the previous day there was. I know difference between them is a subtraction problem, and so they've lined that up for us here. And now we're on the solve. Here, solve the problem. So we can draw a bar model. They drew a bar model to see how much was left here. They did the drawing as well, only sideways, right? And so then we can subtract to find out how much that amount is. I'm going to do that subtraction off to the side here. So 18,925 minus 17,350. 5 take away 0 is 5. 2 take away 5. If I have 2, I am unable to take 5 away. So I've got to go borrow from the 9, take one of his packages, split it up. 12 minus 5. Remember, when you're finding the difference, you could also count from the lowest number up to the highest number and figure out how much that was. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was 7 fingers that got me there. So 5, what I'm technically saying is 5 plus 7 equals 12. Subtraction is a reverse of addition. 8 minus 3 is 5. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is nothing or 0. So there were 1,575 more guests on the second day than there was on the first day. So we would write that in there at the bottom of the page. It's a comma. Okay. And so that's all we do. It's not as bad as it seems at first if you just take it one bite at a time. Read it. Underline what they want you to find out. Circle the information they gave you. Draw it. That's the one piece. Step 4 is the one that answers it all for me. That's the one that works for me most. All right, let's try another one. Let's take step 1, read it. During an event, a hot air balloon traveled a distance of 5,110 feet during the first trip and 850 feet more during the second trip. How far did it travel during the second trip? So I'm going to go ahead and take step 2, underline the question, how far did it travel during the second trip? Let's circle the information. Step 3, circle the information they gave us. On the first trip, it went 5,110 feet. I'm going to draw down here the distance of 5,110 feet. And on the second part of the trip, it went 850 feet more than it did on the first trip. So it extended another 850 more. So it did the 5,110 and then also an additional 850 more. So when I look at my drawing here, I covered 5,110 feet and then continued on further and did even more. So it wouldn't be subtract because that would make it less amount. It would be addition because I went even more. So now that I see this lined up for me, I can see what's going on. Okay, so now I know to solve, it will be an addition problem. Let's do their steps in case you like these steps better. What do I need to find? That's what I underlined. How far did it travel in the second trip? What information do I need? I need to know that the first trip was 5,110 feet and the second trip was that plus an additional 850 feet. How will I use that information? We did the picture over here, and we also, when we kind of laid it out, it was the 5,110 and the additional 850. We'll add those numbers together, and let's go ahead and do the addition. Be careful when you line these up. Our place values need to line up. This is the ones place. We need that ones place to line up with it. This is the tens place. That's got to line up with the tens place. This is the hundreds place. It's got to line up with the hundreds place. And it doesn't have a thousands place. Add 1 plus 5 is 6, 8 plus 1 is 9, and 5 plus nothing is 5. It traveled 5,960 feet on the second trip. And maybe that felt surprisingly easy to you. Maybe it didn't. Some practice will help. But if that felt surprisingly easy to you, That's good. Just take the steps. Don't be afraid of the words. Read it carefully and slowly, and then do one step at a time. It allows your brain to digest the information and solve it. That's all this lesson is. So I'm going to let you release off and try a few problems to see if you're ready to do the assignment on your own.